Alright, hello and welcome back to another video on a game dev's guide to Google Sheets. This is the third episode in the series, and as we talked about last time, it will be on generative data. So generative data in this case is just easily and quickly creating data from scratch. I say easily and quickly, but there's a few steps that we sometimes have to take to accomplish these properly. In this video, we'll kind of go over some of those features and steps, and I'll show you some simple examples of how to do that. And then I'll show you a new template that I created that kind of aligns itself a little bit with this theory. So going right into it, we're going to first look at these suggestions and then see how they match up with the different tabs that we have here down below. So the first suggestion that we have is ARRAYFORMULA is an incredibly powerful command that allows you to type up a formula and have it apply to a range without needing to copy it to other cells. Basically, what that means is we can type the formula once and it will apply itself down as long as there is data for it to calculate in different areas. So the perfect example is this formula here. So we see it is referencing the column next to it, the C column, and then if it is not blank, it is grabbing the row number and it's applying itself down. So if I were to add a new name, you can see it will apply an entirely new row. And one of the powerful tools about this is this doesn't appear as a formula. Only this cell is a formula. So there's some really cool implications to that. Of course, if we delete it, it will just bring itself back. So we can't actually delete these cells. However, if we write into the cells, it will break that column. So that's something to keep in mind. It might be possible to have some kind of conditional formatting that applies. So if something wrong happens and there's a bunch of blank cells, maybe you have a cell above it that displays an error using an index match formula to find the bottommost inputted cell in a range. Maybe I'll show that off later on. In any case, I have some controls here. I have dice here, or I have a control. In the future, there might be new controls if I can think of ways to expand this sheet, but I had to kind of cut myself back a little bit since this was taking too long to prepare for the video. So for now, there's just one, and all it is a 0 and 1 Boolean, or one of the 4 RANDBETWEEN dice rolls here. So we have a 0 to 1 dice roll, we have a 1 to 4 dice roll, oops, we have a 1 to 6, and we have a 1 to 100. And those different dice rolls change some of the outputs of different formulas here. So we're looking for E7 is our cell. Let me see where I can find this. Do I actually have it? Yes, okay. So we have E7 calculated here. So these different array formulas are just examples of different ways you can write the formulas. So you can add a COUNTIF. I believe you can do, you can do is between, or sorry, is even. Certain row modifiers work. I actually think this one might not work properly. I'll have to look back into that later. RANDBETWEENs work, and then you have multiplication and other basic mathematicals that work. But there are some caveats to how ARRAYFORMULA works function-wise, so you may see that in the notes and info as well as the template that I show you in a bit. So moving on, RANDBETWEEN and RAND are the simplest ways to create custom data sets without much effort. It is suggested that instead of using a dice roll block, you implement the formula directly into the cells you're trying to calculate. So that is specifically referring to adding the RANDBETWEEN into this. Where did I type it? There we go. Into the code directly. So you can see I have a very complex RANDBETWEEN here. But in theory, it's supposed to give you the row number that we're on. So in this case, 14. Add 1 to it, so it's 15, and then be a 1 through 15. Or, here would be 1 to 21. So you can make that as simple or as complex as you want. You can use VLOOKUP to easily transform number values into other values based on a reference table. So getting into the VLOOKUP and CONCAT, so you can see we are looking up the ID number 1, and we are finding the reference table to that. So if we decided to change this to 2, we'll see now it becomes John from Sam. And I actually believe we can input VLOOKUPs into the array formula to accomplish the same thing. I didn't do it here because I wanted to keep these a little bit more raw so you can see how they're traditionally plugged in a lot of templates. And then concatenate can be used in conjunction with VLOOKUP, RANDBETWEEN, and if statements to form complex strings of data that can change on every tick. This can be useful for determining if you want custom paragraph data that changes based on other values in your system, and diversifying those paragraph responses based on a RANDBETWEEN and VLOOKUP. So this is oversimplifying, ironically, how complex concatenate as it is as a function. For example, here you can see that I'm using concatenate. I'm doing a couple of different things here. So I'm using a VLOOKUP with the RANDBETWEEN inside the function here to change what the food item is that they like to eat, and then also whether they like to eat or... I didn't change to does not. I thought I did. But you can see that every time I change it, some of these items will change. So that is a really quick way to create lots and lots of custom data, which is very, very nice and useful because you could easily copy this out. Well, I may have to copy it as... I believe there's a way to copy that properly. Paste, values only. So you can see just like that. And then before we get to this last one, I want to really quickly go over some of the notes here. Then we'll get into the last little piece of the info and tips. Generative data can be accomplished in a number of ways. The first method that I attempt is the array formula. Some of the custom variables I employ are switching between an adder and a subtractor. And then here are the two ones that I think are important. And they're a little bit more complex. I think I touched up on this one in the last info and note sheet on the formatting video. Working with the array formula, it is unable to process and or statements. And then one method to overcome that is by doubling with the ampersand or am symbol, this here. Doing so will allow you to double the formula, and you'll get two outputs, or a 2-digit output, which you can apply as an XNOR gate. And XNORs can work as either ANDs, ORs, XNORs, or XOR, and then also as an XNOR gate. So you can have 2, 3, or 4 outputs based on the 2, 3, or 4 potential outcomes based on the 2, 3, or 4 outputs that you're getting. So that is a very quick way to overcome an array formula issue that I've discovered. And then additionally, concatenate has some shorthand issues with array formula, mostly being that if you were trying to do row within concatenate, I got a little Discord notification there. It will not properly read the code. So your row will not function properly. It'll only count as the first row read. So you'll always get one number. It won't count down based on the row you're on. So you may have to split your array formulas up and do a cell reference to those code through array formula. So you may have to do 2 or 3 lines separated instead of 1 line. All right. Now, the last thing I want to go over, check out the Mab Lib engine template to see an easy to understand example of concatenate working with array formula and reference tables. You'll see an array reference table built into the code page. So one thing I did not build in this template is an array reference table. And the difference between an array reference table and a regular reference table is instead of building a table with IDs and answers that you reference with VLOOKUP or vice versa, you are making an indirect reference that you are calling through a cell. So one example that I have of this functioning is, I believe on my link sheet, if we go to, I want to say my Choose Your Own Adventure engine has one of these. We'll just make a copy really quick and open this. And I'll show you the Mab Lib template as well. So if we go to the code page, you can see an image cell matrix. This is technically an image or an array reference table. But then the other example would be with this. I actually removed the array reference table, but it's here. So this is a very simple version of it. So we are building an array here and then referencing the array. I wish I had a better example to show at the moment. So maybe what I'll do is I'll make another video showcasing another template that I don't have on the link sheet. Since it's a bit more proprietary, it is a finance document that I made that has a much more complex array reference table. But the idea of this is I can add in W, X, Y, Z columns, and then what I do is I'll take these columns on this sheet, I'll fill them in with whatever data I have, and then the rest of the code will read this here and translate this code into readable cell references in code, mostly using the indirect reference. So you'll see that, I believe, yeah, right here. So here's a quick little example of indirect happening. So you will concatenate these into their own cells. So you can see I'm generating a named reference to data B/B. And then we are taking that and we are counting that out, for example. This gets way more complex, and like I said, I'll do another video in the near future showing off another template I have and some of the topics covered in this video. And if you guys want to see more in-depth breakdowns of this code, please let me know. I would love to give more examples or come up with better ideas. Also, if you have any suggestions or feedback on the videos, feel free to comment on the videos and fill out the feedback form that's on the link sheet, which is right here. I know it's a little cut off, but in any case, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys who liked the last video. It means a lot to me that you guys are appreciating the work done and getting something out of this series. And I hope to continue to bring more of these, but I will need help getting future topics. So please comment. Let me know if there's a topic you want me to cover. Even if it's not exactly game dev work, I can spin it and work on it. I would love to expand the range of videos that we're working on and the tools that we have available to us as not only game devs, but as just developers in general. But if you enjoyed the video, thank you so much for watching. Please give it a comment. I hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day.